The Sentimental Project, it's a memorial project to suicides within specifically the queer community. Throughout my life, I've really dealt with just my own depression and suicide attempts. I've been really blessed with this ability to be able to express myself and to be able to deal with certain instances in my life, and I kind of wanted to extend that outside of myself and allow other people the opportunity to create some sort of closure, some sort of monument to people that they've lost. This piece is actually about my friend Ed, who committed suicide last November. And while I've lost a lot of people to suicide over the years, it was his death that really kind of sparked the project, feeling the necessity of not only just bringing attention to suicide amongst youth, which tends to be the focus of most organizing, but to start to draw attention towards the older generations of people that are committing suicide. Ed was 44. And this is my friend Nikki, who committed suicide in January, and she was 40. Well, it's really, I think it's been really great that most of our activism within the queer movement has been, very youth-focused for many years now. And we can definitely see the benefits of that, just in current, activist work and just the directions that we're going in. But we're kind of forgetting about people that have kind of aged out of the youth bracket, like 25 plus. Sort of a community of people that are, at this point are just tired because they don't actually have access to proper care. Historically, my work has always had sort of like all my work has been sort of autobiographical, and this is different, because while it's autobiographical in the context of that it's friends of mine, the project is open to anyone to create work, whether it be poetry or painting or music or dance or whatever their expression might be. Yeah, I'd say overall I've always tried to be sort of inspiring in the work that I do, trying to inspire others to find their voice. I think that my original sort of concept, even around this series, was that I'd have people give me information, and then I would do paintings, and then I kind of had this realization that was pretty selfish, that I feel really blessed to be able to, have the ability to create work and, create personal work. And so I just decided that I'd much rather try to help people find their voice rather than have me speak for them. Like another part of the project also is a section of it is for people to express their own, sort of like people who have attempted suicide and survived. Like that's something that you carry with you. It's not something you talk about a lot. And so creating also an opportunity for people to release those stories about themselves and create work that I think, in the end becomes, hopeful. Like I can't imagine what my life would have been like, back when I was extremely suicidal, had I had the opportunity to see stories and hear stories about people surviving, because when you're in the midst of that, you really think that that's all there is. And that there is life after that if you choose to take advantage of it. Like I think that suicide or mental health issues in general have been, a steady stream of sort of fodder for me. Partially based on my own experience, but also by opening myself up and expressing that experience, I've become very aware of other people's experiences. So it seems to be an ongoing theme for me. About 10 years ago, I created a series called Freedom of Depression, 9 Ways to Commit Suicide, and that was a direct reaction to me thinking about all the people that I'd lost. And so each one of those 9 ways describes either a way that I found a friend of mine or that I know how a friend had committed suicide. And the thing that I find the most amazing and what I've really enjoyed about showing this piece of work is that just the conversations that would happen around it, because this is largely an issue that people don't talk about or are afraid to talk about. And so it's really interesting to me to kind of like stand in the background and listen to people all of a sudden talk about themselves or talk about their friends or people that they've lost, And it's also a very humorous piece, you know, once you really get into it. And so, like, creating a different level of being able to express yourself and react and respond to that issue. I've been doing paintings about my experience, but not really about the physical aspects of the experience. And I'd always kind of struggled with, you know, how to describe those things sometimes. And so the Thorazine series really came out of me trying to express to you what it felt like to be given Thorazine, which is a very powerful tranquilizer that's very overused in that system. And so the painting starts out as sort of like a head rush, where, like, you know, all the little spots of color that you might see if you stand up too quick. And then I started sort of seeing shadows in the little spots of color, and started seeing figures, and basically chose to, like, sort of rescue a figure, which I consider to be myself, from that surface of that canvas. I think that my work, like, if you were able to look historically at my work, like my very, very early work, I'm very much like a sledgehammer. Like, I don't trust you to get anything, you know. And I'm also just coming to terms with things for the first time, so I'm just, like, exploding, you know. As I've evolved as an artist and I've become more comfortable with myself and more empowered in my expression, and as I've begun to sort of trust the world more and trust the viewer, and trust that the viewer's going to go as far into a painting as they can, much more layers have sort of happened as a result. And as I sort of progress as an artist, I think my work becomes much more complicated. People grow with themselves, like, emotionally. So as it's like you're stretching this emotional muscle, and the more you know, expose yourself, then the more you can see. And then, you know, and that's reciprocal. And that, I think, that represents how I've grown, and how I continue to try and challenge myself emotionally, to maybe delve into things that aren't, you know, always that comfortable. Like, one of the main focuses, I think, of my work historically is it's not so much that you would consistently always be able to recognize my work visually. Like, oh, that's a Scholinski. You know, like, the way that you know that it's my work is your emotional reaction to it. I think, you know, the strongest protest a person can do is to truly be themselves.